All right, so here we go with this week's lesson. It's called Let's Do Lunch. And I do think that lunch is a meal that we kind of fall apart with because breakfast is, we've kind of got that down pat. Maybe we've talked about how to add a vegetable to your breakfast, or some of you might be fasting and not even having a breakfast, or you're grabbing something on the go like a V8. I spend so much time teaching you guys about breakfast, and then we get to lunch and it can all fall apart, especially because a lot of us are back to work, or lunchtime is a real busy time of day. You're out running errands, you're out and about, you're at meetings, you're at appointments, you're at book club or visiting friends or whatever, and lunch becomes an afterthought. And by the time the clock strikes 12, we are so exhausted and so famished, or we're so overwhelmed, or we're so frustrated, or it's somebody's birthday and somebody brought something to the office, or we forgot to pack a lunch and everybody's ordering, so you will too, or lunch tends to sabotage not only that meal, but the rest of the day. Lunch is really setting us up for your productivity and your attitude for the rest of the day. So I do think it's a super important meal to take charge of. These are not the good lunch slide. This is not the good lunch slide, by the way. This is the don't do this slide. We are so famished by lunch, or again, we're overwhelmed, or we fasted, or we're having a pissy day at the job, or we're running around and doing errands, and oh, you know what I see? I see fast food, or I see a sandwich shop, or it's somebody's birthday and they brought cupcakes to work, or I have these chocolates in my office, or I have these sweets tucked away. And so these seem like a good idea because we think that's what our brain is telling us to do. We're craving nutrition, definitely. Your 37 trillion cells are sending you a message to nourish them, but we misinterpret that message and we grab for the stuff in these pictures. We grab something that's high calorie, we grab something that's carbohydrate and fat dominant, we grab a sugary pick-me-up, or we skip lunch because we're working, we have patients, we have meetings, we have a Zoom call, or again, we're dashing around town doing errands. So then we skip lunch, and these cravings come in later in the day. And you guys know there's nothing, well, there's plenty worse, I guess, but one of the worst feelings in the world is looking up at the clock. It's 1 o'clock and somehow you have got to muscle through till quitting time, or you've got to muscle through that next meeting, or you've got to muscle through your responsibilities for the rest of the day, and there just is not the mental or physical energy in your cells to do it. So we grab these things on the go, thinking erroneously that macronutrients are what we need. I need some protein, I need some carbs, I need some fat. That's what you think you hear your cells saying. But what I want you to listen for is those cells begging you for micronutrients, the little guys, the tiny little vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, flavonoids, antioxidants, those little tiny molecules that can tuck themselves into your 37 trillion cells and support the organelles, support the mitochondria that builds energy, support the ribosomes that are going to turn your food into fuel, support the organelles that get rid of waste in the cell. These colorful foods, these micronutrients, and even the fiber that's pictured here in the nuts, are not just supporting your cells, they're supporting your gut. Okay, so the fiber that comes along with the nuts and the vegetables and the fruits is supporting your gut. And if your gut is moving well from all this fiber, then your brain is going to move well, because your gut and your brain are twins. Okay, your gut and your brain are twins. And what's going on in your gut? Sluggish. I ate too much. I'm bloated. I'm gassy. That is being mimicked in its twin, your brain. I'm sluggish. I'm what else did I say? I'm sluggish, I'm bloated, I'm full, and I'm gassy. That's how your brain is going to feel if you eat this stuff. Okay, your brain's going to feel like a sausage. Okay, or your brain's going to feel like an overstuffed cupcake. Not only are these foods macronutrients, they don't necessarily give you immediate cellular energy. Not only are they not giving us the right kind of energy, they're also inflaming us. Animal products, dairy products, wheat products, and sugar products are the 4 biggest inflammers in the American and Canadian diet. The Western diet is so dominant with these 4 inflammers. So animals, dairy, wheat, and sugar inflame your gut instantly. It only takes 20 minutes for this food to go from your mouth to your gut. In 20 minutes, your gut is inflamed. And because your gut and your brain are twins, now your brain is inflamed. And inflamed doesn't always mean hot. It means angry. Okay? You have just angered your belly. You made your mouth happy, and you might have made your emotions happy for the 20 seconds that you were chewing it, but you just inflamed everything down the chain. And it takes about 48 hours to get all of that rid of you, assuming that you have enough fiber in your diet. For some people, they just keep inflaming and inflaming and inflaming 3 meals a day, or snacks day after day after day, and they don't have enough time to get rid of that inflammation. So it drains your energy. And so what do we do when our energy is drained? We keep eating more sugar and dairy and snacks on the go. But what I would like to challenge you to do is think this way. Think small and frequent. So once your fast is over, well, whether that's 12 hours or, up to 16, like we've talked about, start with small and frequent, high fiber, multicolored meals. So we don't need these big breakfasts, and we certainly don't need a big, huge, gut busting, unbutton your pants kind of a lunch. Small, frequent snacks. And I know that not everybody can do that because of their job, but think about drinking more often. Think about drinking a nice nutritious smoothie or a nutritious juice if you can't do the foods that are pictured here. So small, frequent snacks. So what are some ways that you guys have, what are some tips that you can share here? Do you guys do this already? Small, frequent, colorful snacks. Kelly's laughing.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, my job actually plays into this, because it's very rare that I actually have a break to eat. Yep. So I have my food at my desk, and I actually have little bits between patients.
Yes. Yes. So
small and frequent.
Yeah. So what kind of foods work well for you to just grab, 3 minutes? What are some easy things for you to have on hand?
Well, you know what, to be honest, a lot of it is actually what I do as my breakfast food. If I have breakfast, right? Because for my fasting window, I tend to be later, right? So, like, on Sundays, I'm doing a sweet potatoes and mushrooms and peppers and asparagus and Brussels sprouts. Like, I've got containers and like a brown and wild rice and roasted chickpeas and my beans and all this. And I actually just every day usually do up a couple containers.
Yep.
And then throw some like sunflower seeds on, some almonds, some omega or some hemp seed. Yep. And then I'm just doing bites of that, whether it's earlier in the day or it's later. Because sometimes I have 2 meals, like a lunch and supper, that I'm actually at work. So I just take two containers. And then I'll usually do a container of blueberries with raw almonds with them.
Yes, perfect. Yeah.
And then you can just kind of chomp here and there all day kind of thing, right?
I love that. Yeah, that's good. That's perfect. When I worked at a gym, I would make a big smoothie, like the big quart size mason jar.
Yeah.
And then between clients, I would run to my little desk and just like chug another sip of the smoothie. And it was a game for me to try to see how much nutrition, how many micronutrients I could pack into that smoothie, because I didn't even have time to chew. By the time
Right.
I like washed my hands between clients, ran to the bathroom, washed my hands again, and then chugged something, like there was no chewing. Or I'd go back downstairs with like, spinach in my teeth or whatever.
Yeah. See,
So,
that's the beauty of masks. I still have to wear masks, so I don't worry about it anymore. If I'm like, okay, I know I've got stuff in my teeth, put on my mask, and I'll worry about it after the next patient.
I love that. I love that. But I love this. I love what you shared, Kelly, about your lunch being kind of an extension of your breakfast. And it's totally unstructured. It's not a recipe and it's
No.
not a sandwich. Everybody's like, well, what do you do about a sandwich? I'm like, lunch doesn't have to be a sandwich and breakfast
No.
doesn't have to be breakfast cereal. Like, we need to get away from that commercialized thinking about our meals and just put a bunch of stuff together and nibble on it. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
You
Meg,
know, when you started talking about having vegetables at breakfast, I don't know why I had never thought of it, but to me that was like the most wonderful, liberating idea. I could just start vegetables early in the day, and it's just so exciting. And these smoothies that just look, like a horrible stuff, but oh man, I love them, and I'll drink that, finish it off throughout the day. But I mean, I've got this, 2 jugs of it that
exactly.
Ned makes for me in the morning, which is really sweet of him.
That is
Oh,
sweet.
that's awesome.
That
Yeah.
is awesome.
And
But
I know that I'll sometimes get a bunch of vegetables and chop and dice them. So it's just like this huge, like a salsa without the spice or anything.
exactly.
There's a recipe in a Molly Katzen cookbook. It was black beans and vegetables. And it's so beautiful before you add the black beans. And I keep the black beans separate because I love all the color of all the different peppers. And it just, like your slide, it's just so gorgeous. And the black beans just kind of mute that out. So I just keep it separate. But I can eat that stuff. I mean, I could eat a whole huge, biggest bowl of that.
I love that. And I think the sooner we branch off the typical Western diet that we've been sold by advertising and we've been sold by, the box aisles, boxed cereals and then sandwiches for lunch. Who says we have to keep doing it that way? There's no energy there. It's all macronutrients and it's inflammatory wheat, dairy, sugar, and more animal products. So think about when you're choosing your lunch, it definitely takes some planning. I'm not saying that you can walk into the store and grab something that looks like this. I get that. But like Kelly said, planning ahead and just chopping all your stuff and having it done on the weekend or whatever that day of the week is for you, and then just creating these little mix and match bowls and pick things that are in season, pick things that you want to try, pick things that look fresh that week. There's no recipe here. It's just, the colors of the rainbow and all the fiber and all that yummy energy. So really, I think too that then the handicap becomes we forget about protein. I don't want to say that protein is bad, but I want you to think about protein differently. Doesn't have to be sliced lunch meat. Everybody's like, oh, what's the best lunch meat? I'm like, nuts.
None.
Nuts and beans are the best lunch meat. So it also, I want to keep repeating, it doesn't mean that I'm expecting this of you tomorrow. And it doesn't mean that you need to do this 100% of the time, all the time, immediately. I think it's yet another idea that can help you feel better today and help you maintain good health and an active lifestyle for all of your tomorrows. But walk your way into this at a pace that is reasonable for you. I get it. Like, your first step might be go out and get 20 containers. Your second step might be go out and buy a lunchbox. Your third step might be get some toothpicks because your teeth are going to be full of food, or wear a mask or get some chewing gum or whatever. Think about the 10 steps that are required to actually implement this idea and start with those steps. Give yourself a deadline of 2 weeks from now to get all the necessary steps in place. I think so often we hear great ideas like this and we get so mad at ourselves because we don't implement it immediately and we think we're failures, and so we just give
Right.
up,
Yeah.
So definitely baby step. Or maybe Monday's your day. Monday, I'm gonna have a really good lunch every Monday. And then maybe next month it's every Monday and every Tuesday. And now you start bringing these kind of snacks to the office potluck. When it's somebody's birthday, you bring them a broccoli instead of a cupcake. Maybe something like that. Okay. So
Yeah.
here's an actual list of energy boosting nutrients. So I talked about your 37 trillion cells, and I talked about your gut, and I talked about your brain. And when you're putting your lunches together, I want you to be thinking about your cells and your gut and your brain, because those are the things that are going to give you energy, not more protein, not more carbs, not more sugar, and not more caffeine. Your cells, your gut, and your brain need to be fed the right stuff. And so here are the things: B vitamins, vitamin C, zinc, magnesium, calcium, and iron. There is definitely something on this chart that you like. I don't know who you are watching this. I do know who you are. There's something on here for everyone. So let's look at iron, because I think iron and protein typically go hand in hand. And yes, you need protein. Yes, you need iron. But look at these beautiful sources: firm tofu, pumpkin seeds, apricots, beans, and chickpeas. 4 out of 5 of those things are non-perishable. You can keep them in your desk at work. You can keep them near your desk at home. You can keep pumpkin seeds and dried apricots in your car. So if you are out and about during lunch, at meetings, or doing errands, or taking people to appointments, or taking yourself to appointments, make a little lunch bag and just keep it in your car at all times with pumpkin seeds and dry apricots. And then work your way through the whole list here. What do I like? Of the things on this list, what are the things that I know I already like? Everybody loves citrus. Everybody loves a tangerine. What are those little things at the store? Cuties. They've made them so easy to peel now. You just take the peel off with your thumb. You don't need a special tool or anything. Everybody loves citrus. Circle that one. How can I get more citrus into my lunch? Everybody loves, what else does everybody loves almonds. Most people love almonds and cashews. And if you haven't tried pumpkin seeds, try them. They are so delicious. And now I'm in the zinc column. So zinc is a mineral that is super energizing. Your cells love it. They're going to dance for you if you load them up with zinc. So think about how you can add more pumpkin seeds, either just by the handful or throw them on your salad or put them in your Buddha bowl, like Kelly was describing. Have you guys tried nutritional yeast?
No.
Yeah, it's in most health food stores. It's in most mainstream grocery stores now too, and it's dried flakes that are full of B vitamins. Vegans and vegetarians use them a lot to get their B vitamin requirement, and it tastes kind of like Parmesan cheese.
Yeah, I rarely have popcorn without it. I mean, we just started, we popcorn and we just sprinkle nutritional yeast on it. It's so good.
So good. I
We've
love
been doing that for years and years. Yeah.
It's delicious on rice, Kelly. Just sprinkle it on rice, or like some nice chickpea pasta, or like some warm quinoa or something. It's pretty tasty.
Okay.
It's got a little bit of that cheesy funk to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So don't be surprised. It's not bad. It's not spoiled. It's just going to have a little bit of a cheesy taste to it.
I'm going to check it out. Yeah.
So what else here? What else is anything here jumping out at you? Like, oh my gosh, yeah, I need to add that to my lunch.
I put a lot of that in my lunch.
It sounds exactly like your lunch, actually. Kelly, for those that weren't here in the pre-call, can you share, do you mind sharing with us what epiphany your husband had with his stuff?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So just from the, like, well, I got him to watch a couple of Dave Buettner's videos for the blue zones.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, I started, well, we did the vitality test.
That's right.
And his was horrendous.
Okay.
Because he also has type 1 diabetes and he's got chronic leukemia as well too,
Kelly.
which takes him way down, right? Yeah. So I was like, dude, I'm not living 30 years without you. Just so you know. So we got to do something. So for the easiest for him to start with was the veggies and pulling away some of the sweets, right? And he said, you know what? I've been doing this for a week, and he said, I have to say, I do feel better. And one thing he really noticed was that his gut feels better. He said, I don't feel as bloated. It just, you know, even like from not TMI here, but his bowel movements, he said, are just better. And so it's, you know, and of course that's motivating. If something you're doing makes you feel better, it's motivating to continue, right? And he's the one who asked to watch those videos. And I was like, cool, that's great.
Oh, cool. And those videos are so good. They're short and it's simple, great information. Yeah. Check out his podcast too. If you listen to podcasts, just search for Dan Buettner, and he's
I'm gonna do that.
He's a guest a lot of times on different podcasts. It's so good, so simple, such common sense about just eating the way the earth was intended to feed us, you know, and in the quantities that it was intended to feed us, and in the not just feed us, but feed our cells and our gut and our brain. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So when y'all are feeling like tired or frustrated or angry or overwhelmed or whatever, and your lunch, oh, I need a treat. Oh, I need a break. Oh, it's everybody's ordering. I'm going to get the burger because that sounds really good. Just remember that instantly, within 20 minutes of eating those inflammatory foods, you have inflamed your belly. Your belly, your gut, and your brain are twins. I should say your gut and your brain are twins. And now your brain is inflamed. And your brain doesn't respond by being hot and inflamed. It responds by being tired and confused and frustrated and foggy and, you know, irritable. When we feel that way, it can be hormones. And oftentimes it's the food that we ate for lunch, or it's these inflammatory diets. And on that note, real quick, I noticed for me that my hormones flare up, you know, like the hot flashes and the irritability definitely flare up more when I eat the crappy lunch.
Absolutely.
When I treat myself to the burger and fries because it's a special occasion, or I'm really hungry, I definitely have more of those hormonal flare-ups later in the day. Totally, it's all related. All right. Anything else there on this slide, guys? Okay, cool. So you guys have seen me post about my mason jars. This is such a great transportable way to bring all this stuff right to your desk with you. It might be tricky to eat this in the car while you're driving around doing errands, but for those of us that are not spending our lunch in the car, getting ready for this talk, I started revisiting my mason jars. I just had one today down at the bell tower, Megan. This is the best thing in the world to get exactly what we're talking about. All these micronutrients, all this fiber, all this color, all this variety, all this energy. These are quart-sized mason jars. It's going to be the size and the fullness of a $15 salad at a nice restaurant. That's how big a quart is going to hold. And the great thing about it is you can make it different from week to week with whatever's on sale or whatever you have extra of or whatever's in season or whatever you got at the farmer's market. So basically you start at the bottom with a dressing, whatever you like. I just use olive oil and vinegar. I like apple cider vinegar because it feels really good in my belly. Next layer, you're going to just put the hard veggies. So this is where I put hard things like cucumbers or celery or red onions or bell peppers. Then you put in some beans. I love chickpeas. I can't do black beans. I get real itchy. So I do usually chickpeas there. Sometimes too, I'll cook up some quinoa and throw that along with the chickpeas. And then next you do the leafy greens. And sometimes I'll have some sprouts and I'll throw those in with the spinach or kale or arugula. And then on the top, I always like to put something real pretty. So when I open that lid, the first thing I see is some gorgeous strawberries or blueberries or avocado that's drenched in lime juice. And then of course, when you're ready to eat it, you just dump it out in a big bowl. Now the salad, now the dressing is on the top and the whole thing's ready to go. So super transportable. I make mine over the weekend, and once they're in the jar with that lid on, today is, what is today? Thursday? The one I ate today, I made on Sunday. It was still perfectly fresh. They hold up really well because the lettuce, which is what would get kind of yucky, is not touching the liquid. The liquid's all the way at the bottom. So super, super transportable tip there. And what I used to do when I was really on the ball, when I was working at a gym, Mondays, I would bring all 4 of these with me. So I didn't have to remember to bring it back and forth every day. Monday, I would put 4 of them in the fridge. And then, because I didn't go to the gym on Thursdays. So I had my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday salad, and then my Friday salad was there waiting for me too. Super duper little tip there. All right, so my challenge to you this week is to make sure you're getting at least 2 servings of vegetables at lunch. Remember, a serving is the size of your fist. That can be some bell peppers and cucumbers, or that could be salsa. Maybe you want to double up on some salsa if you're just kind of tiptoeing into this idea. Or it could be, you know, maybe 1 serving of salsa and 1 serving of bell peppers that you're going to dip it with. And maybe you do have a couple corn chips on the side, because we're just kind of tiptoeing in. So don't totally abandon what you love, but think about how you could add a little bit more veggies there. So 2 servings of vegetables at lunch, each the size of your fist. I really, really believe that because of the nutrient value there, if we go back to this chart, look at that. When you do 2 servings of vegetables, you're getting the B, the C, the zinc, the magnesium, the calcium, and the iron. You might have to add some of the pumpkin seeds or chickpeas to that, but you're going to get so many of these energizing nutrients that you're not going to feel like you need the vending machine or the coffee machine later in the day, because I don't want you to bring that inflamed gut into the evening and not be able to recover from it while you sleep. And here are all the references on, yes, these really are energy boosting nutrients. I didn't just make this up. So if you're interested in researching more on your own, you can go to any one of these links. If you want any of these slides individually, give me a holler and I will make sure you get that. All right. So any final comments or questions from you guys?
I have something for after we're done recording.
Okay. Oh, I can't wait. Megan, what do you have for lunch today?
What did I have for lunch?
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, I had a ton of almonds. I had, I'm trying to think, what did I have for lunch today? Oh, I had peppers and a small salad, really.
Okay.
Lettuce and green pepper and some corn salsa that we got at Half Farms. It was really good.
Yeah. Cool.
And I like to cut the corn off the cob and eat it raw.
I love it.
It is so good. I love that.
It's totally different, isn't it? It's like a totally different food.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
And I'm trying, and the half avocado. I mean, I just kind of grazed it on this sort of stuff. I didn't really sit down and have a lunch, but I, you know, over 30 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah, before I went to the nature walk.
Yeah, and I think that's good again, because when we give our gut just a little bit of food at a time to digest, it doesn't get overwhelmed with this big, you know, this big bolus that we're trying to pass through this skinny little intestine. It's just a lot less demanding and a lot less inflammatory to have these little bites. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. All right.
And I had more smoothie. That's what I did. Yeah.
And you had
so I just, you know, cleaning up old vegetables, but I mean, I just love it.
Yeah, exactly. And for a lot of people who don't yet love vegetables, I still think, start with your baby carrots. Start with your cucumber slices. And even if you have to dip it in a little bit of, guac or hummus or something like that to get it, to make it interesting, I'm okay with that. I would even be okay with a little teeny bit of ranch dressing if you really, really, really needed it to get those 2 servings down. Just a little teeny bit to sweeten the pot, so to speak. But yeah, super good. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. I'm going to stop recording so Kelly can have the floor, and I'll see you all next time.